Ladies and gentlemen, the guys came up here and worked some on the weekend. They have more than 20 hours of footage, and they boiled it down. They're trying to transfer it over to the computer system right now so we can premiere it here. And that's the easiest way, just to do it live, to actually get it up on prisonplanet.tv. But it will be up on prisonplanet.tv this evening regardless, and we may have it for you by the end of the show. But you also have the documents given out by the state police, by the National Guard. So we've got Jason Douglas and Rob Dew, two Gammer guys. They also helped direct and edit the film Police State 4, The Rise of FEMA, my latest documentary. Guys, go over arriving, what you saw, what you witnessed. And people need to understand, I've been to these urban warfare drills. This is not isolated. And they're acclimating the public for military occupation, for schools to be taken over by troops, military, regular army, foreign troops. And I have witnessed in Hebron, Maryland, troops training for gun confiscation, the Marines. We've witnessed it in Swansboro, North Carolina. We've witnessed it in Alabama, urban warrior in California, foreign troops with our troops training with role players who are American terrorists in LE 09 last year. So this is not isolated. You see troops at the Kentucky Derby. Somebody runs out on the field after the race, like everybody, the troops run up with 45s and arrest them. They didn't have police do it. No, troops did it. Year after year, the Super Bowl, Marines running drunk driving checkpoints all over the country. Well, what's wrong with the Marines stopping drunks? We are being acclimated for military occupation, and now they admit Brigade Homeland and Homeland Security and Northcom, and the military is training to take on their #1 threat, the former military, gun owners. New York Times about Boy Scouts training to take on disgruntled vets that own guns. And we cover that in Police State 4. You guys did a great job working on that. I sent you to this. We were not disappointed. I wish we would have been disappointed. I wish it would have just been a normal terror drill, but no, it wasn't. It was a federalization martial law drill. So, gentlemen, great job up in Chicago and surrounding areas in your 5-day trip. Break down what you witnessed.
All right, well, we arrived on Saturday, and we scattered out some of the locations that they were putting out in their press releases of where these events were going to be taking place. And we had a hotel pretty close to the first one, which was in Oak Lawn. It was a train station. And they were simulating a plane exploding over on its way into Midway Airport. And they took that, they said, off the underwear bomber thing. So they're using a false flag to justify more terror training. And so there it was a very small drill. It was mainly firefighter, police, and then National Guard were kind of providing oversight, and they had a command vehicle there. The next day we went to Toyota Park, and that was the big that was where their big staging ground was. That's where, the 400 to 500 National Guard troops were going to show up. And from there, they were going to deploy to the different events around the city of Chicago, which is it's huge. I don't know if you've never been there, it's really big. There's a big downtown and then an even bigger suburb. And so then the next day, we went to their second, it was like a smaller command staging ground in Elk Grove, and we saw a lot of their technology that they were using. They gave us a couple interviews, and then we went down to Bensonville, which is, you had a caller earlier today, I was listening, he said that he saw, some stuff going on in Bensonville, and that's where the main...
He was saying he saw you on the news.
Yeah, well, I was all over the place. Both me and Douglas were just shooting video everywhere, and, we just went right up to the National Guard, we got our press passes from them, and they pretty much gave us carte blanche on shooting whatever, and, we just asked questions, they answered them. They mentioned that... What about nighttime drills, the Guard running around the streets at 1 a.m.? Now, there was one nighttime drill that we went to, and it was run by the city, and that was a couple days later, and they were very standoffish about letting anybody...
It was a gun confiscation drill. That was the key.
Well, they were going into a train with the SWAT team, and they didn't want the SWAT team shown, and then after that, they were doing decontamination. Mainly what the National Guard, from what we saw, they were doing decontamination exercises of people, except with the one terror drill where they were going to take out some terrorists and then free some hostages, and then there was a chemical spill in there, and that was with the Boy Scouts. They were all... Okay,
we're going to get to the Polish troops,
yeah,
and the video you have of this, and of course we'll also hold up some of these documents you have. We can show the document cam from the ceiling and see some of those. But Douglas, give me your take and breakdown, your report on what you saw.
Well, the thing that was difficult to wrap your mind around was that they would couch these, each segment of this training exercise was couched in something that was completely innocuous. A plane crash. of course, it's a plane crash, but then all of a sudden they start swinging into there was terrorist information found inside of the plane. And then they're, interrogating the people who just fell out of the sky. They take these training exercises, they have all these different spins that happen with them. And so it's not the original, just a plane crash. It's all of these other things, and they're following this trail of where, they got information from citizens who just fell out of the sky, and now they can go in any direction that they want. Well,
yeah, you'll have the cover story. It's like, we're training for Macedonia, and then you get there, and they're training to take over San Francisco in the Urban Warrior one I went to with the Marines and the foreign troops in Oakland. I have the footage. It's in Police State 2000, and it's all there, them saying, we're trying to take on Americans in San Francisco, and they have mock interrogations. Where'd you get the weapons? Where'd you get the helmet? Well, I got it in San Francisco. Well, why are you in Oakland? I'm an American. No, not the camp. I have rights. That's all on video. And it's always the same, for the public. It's like, we're doing a bomb decontamination drill. And then you find out it's a takeover of the city council, or it's a takeover of the county commissioner's office. I mean, I've seen this in Texas. I've been to them in Texas. So you have the cover story, and then as you said, it then goes off into all these other directions.
Yeah, we were told several times that the Polish troops were only going to be there as observers, and then we find out there's Latvian troops there because Michigan's sister country, Warsaw Pact country, is Latvia. So they have Latvia troops there because the Michigan National Guard was also participating. And then Illinois is with Poland. So
and again, this just is compartmentalized. This gets our troops trained to foreign troops. Sure. It gets the other foreign troops. And now in NLE 09, they admitted 14 nations training to, quote, take on American terrorists. And so now the news is saying, in an emergency, Canadian and Mexican troops are going to help in America. And then we had our troops up at the Olympics helping run checkpoints. See how we're all being acclimated.
Oh, yeah, and they do it under the guise of, this is to share information and brotherhood and all this stuff. And
that was like in Iowa when we had the colonel on that you got on. He said, we were training for gun confiscation, but what's wrong with that? You're making it a conspiracy theory. And I said, well, no, and then the news wrote an article about me, the conspiracy theorist, who scared the town about gun confiscation, but their original article said they worked with a local gun dealer who played the part of the terrorist, and they were going door to door and cardoning for a gun confiscation.
He even admits it. You were looking for weapons caches.
Yes, we're doing a gun confiscation drill, but you shouldn't be upset about it.
Right. And that's, they do it all matter-of-factly.
So, break down exactly what people are going to see on this prison. In fact, if it comes in when the show ends, we'll just play the video in overdrive. If it's not, we have it? Awesome. It transferred. How long is this video?
Well, I cut it up into two parts. What you're going to see right when it starts is the guy, Captain Bright, who was kind of our liaison, who was taking us around, and then the head of the Polish of their command group. There's about 13 or 14 Polish soldiers along with firefighters. And then I guess the best thing to describe is Polish FBI. They wouldn't come on camera, and they were kind of standoffish to us, but it was three individuals who just kind of they were observing the whole time, but they were their equivalent of the FBI is what.
Now, I haven't seen this yet. I mean, for radio listeners, do we need to narrate this?
Yeah, as soon as they pop it up, I'll do some narration and tell them what they're seeing.
Okay, and Douglas, you feel free to pop in. Now again, specifically in this drill, and they let you in there, it was the Boy Scouts covering their faces, and this was a hostage drill, or what was this?
The whole point of that exercise was terrorists had taken hostages into a building and sealed it off. And then they'd also found, upon entry, they find chemicals, a spill, which was simulated with flour. And so the Boy Scouts were all in that area. They come in, they cut the door down using those kind of rotary saws that are gas-powered. So they cut through, bust in, they kill the terrorists, and this was in the main room.
Were you able to get the sheets on who the terrorists were? Because in a lot of these drills, it is American militia.
They didn't say anything specifically. I went up and asked the guys, and they just said, no, we're terrorists. I went and asked the terrorists, are you representing anybody? Are you with any particular group? And they said, no, we're just...
Because in Michigan, they had the drills in the schools where they were people against public school. They were homeschool families.
Right.
And they told the kids that we're attacking the school.
Yeah.
Which is a demonization tactic.
I didn't get that particular information from them, but what was clear, and in the main room, it was all Illinois State Police. And then we look over, and there's this little spiral staircase, and all of a sudden there's Polish troops there, and they never mentioned that they were going to be participating in the exercise. And all of a sudden they start coming down the stairs, and then they're kind of cordoning off the Boy Scouts at gunpoint, and they're holding them there. And there was another terrorist staging group there, and they actually used a hand grenade.
Oh, really?
There, yeah.
Well, I want to add that in Road to Tyranny, we interview a Marine Corps captain who in the 80s was actually raiding gun dealers' homes and offices in a police jacket. And so they've actually got military engaging in raids everywhere. That's the next level of secrecy.
Well, and one of the exercises was taking down a meth lab. They find a meth lab, so it's automatically this, instead of a local law enforcement issue, it becomes a terrorist plot because it's, chemical or biological, or, they kind of just take, meth lab and turn that into...
It's mission creep. I mean, that's like they charged Atari with weapons of mass destruction.